Thank you for tuning in to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. I just did a video pointing out and categorizing you specifically with a report that says the United States will be the top oil producer in the world, surpassing Saudi Arabia. And this is all thanks to shale oil fracking. Now, we're not going to get into any debates talking about fracking is good or bad or anything like that. That is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to explain to you all, or for some who already know, you just go ahead and nod your head, the reason why we're in the Middle East. So, number one, I've already did the video, and you already know the United States is the top oil producer in the world. Right? That's fact number one. By that fact, we can then extrapolate or come to a conclusion or make some assumptions that we do not actually need outside oil. Be that as it may, I have a breakdown of how much we produce and use oil refined into gasoline ourselves versus what we import. We produce and use 90% of our oil that is refined into gasoline. So 90% of our gasoline, and this is actually old data. This is not 2014 or 2015 data. We produce and use 90% of our own gasoline. Fact number one, or fact number two. We import 8% of our gasoline and refined into of our gasoline, I'll just say gasoline, from Canada, who is, I believe, the third largest oil producer in the world. I believe they've surpassed, with the discovery of a new shale oil field, they have surpassed Russia and are vying for equal oil production to Saudi Arabia. So Canada's right up there. Canada should be one of the richest nations in the world, but because of the way they've structured their government, being socialistic, and taking most of the money from the population, they are literally shooting themselves in the foot just over and over, month after month, year after year. 8% of our gas comes from Canada. 1% of our gas comes from Mexico. So that leaves a whopping 1% to come from the entire rest of the world. That includes Russia, that includes Venezuela, other South American countries, maybe a little bit from Africa, and some from the Middle East. Now, if we are talking about 0.5% of our gasoline imports coming from the Middle East, that necessarily means that there should be absolutely no reason that we are in the Middle East and talking about doing this and that and the other on the scale that we're talking about. Spending billions and trillions of dollars in the Middle East. So why are we there? What is the point? What are we doing? And here is the sad truth behind it. In 1970, I believe, 1970, after we said that we were going to divest ourselves of the gold standard, we convinced Saudi Arabia to sell all of their oil in dollars. So then we created the petrodollar. So let's bring that forward to 2014 or even 2001, right? We're talking about we are in the Middle East all of these decades, and the discovery of oil and more discovery of oil, and in Africa and what have you, and with OPEC agreeing to sell all of their oil in dollars for the petrodollar. That is why we're in the Middle East so seriously, to the tune of trillions of dollars. You know, the feds can print out $1 trillion and not bat an eyelash. Not even think about it. We are sending troops all over the world and killing young people, your sons and now your daughters, unfortunately, which I disagree with. I don't think any woman should be in the military whatsoever. It is not a country club. Your whole equal rights thing, as far as the military is concerned, is abhorrent to me. Meaning, I hate that you would think that you need to be a woman and go to the military for some stupid reason. I don't think anybody should be in the military right now. We are not fighting for our Constitution, nor our freedom, nor any invading army. We are fighting for the petrodollar worldwide. And trust me, there is no reason to give your life, cut off your family ties and your progeny for the petrodollar. They can easily revamp that and make the dollar based off of something else completely different. We are killing our sons and daughters for the petrodollar, and that's why we're in the Middle East. That's why we're trying to topple governments, trying to topple Syria, trying to topple Russia, trying to topple China, South Africa. That's why we have Israel over there doing our bidding, trying to get Iraq and Iran to fight each other. That's why we're supplying terrorists with guns for the petrodollar. That's what it's about. But it's coming to an end, whether they like it or not. It's ridiculous. That's why we're in the Middle East. And so people are saying, well, why is gas $4, $5, $6 a gallon? That is the greed of Wall Street. That is point blank. That's all it is. You pay for it. They've had boycotts in the past. They actually lasted. They did some good, and then people went about their business and started buying it anyway. The boycotts actually were working, but people don't stick to their ideals. If you have an ideal that you're not going to pay $4, $5, $6 for gasoline per gallon, you need to stick to it. There's no reason for it to cost that much. There's absolutely no reason. There's no huge demand for gasoline to the point where we are rendering it rare. And that's the whole point. When prices go up, it's because a commodity or a product is becoming rarer because the demand for it is increasing. This is ordinary use. There is no extraordinary use for gasoline that the American population puts upon gas producers. Understand that. They're doing this to you just to screw you over. Tell me what you think about that, and thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.